Alright, it's time to make some of the legs. So we'll work on this back leg here, and I'm only going to do one swoop here for this drawing. You can always go back and put in the second piece if we want to. So I'm going to switch to a side view, and I'm going to use the polygon or the polyline tool. And I'm not going to really worry about where my where my leg starts down here. We can come back and trim that after the fact. But I'm going to draw my leg over and snap to angles in my way. So I'll put my angle there. And I'll stop my path right about there. And now I'm going to draw my cross section. Now if I want to extrude along a path, I need to create I'm going to give this a 1-inch width and a 4-inch height. The orientation of my object, I have to orient my profile object in such a way so that when it extrudes, it will flop back into the screen and then extrude. So let's see if I got this the way I want it. I'll select both of them. Choose Model, Extrude Along a Path. Make sure I have my path object selected. And that's the way I want it. That looks pretty good. But I forgot to do something beforehand. Or I could have modified this after the fact. Let me do that. I want to edit my path. There's my path. Let me zoom in. I want to have a little bit of a radius here. So I can use the reshape. Now here I have an issue. I can't exchange for a vertex because this is a NURBS curve. Already, when you use extrude along a path, the path is converted into a NURBS automatically. Let's see if I can use fillet edge or the fillet tool. Nope. That's not going to... Oh, it did work. It didn't highlight red, but I want to have maybe a 2-inch. So it's behaving a little differently. I got my curve there and my curve there. And let's see if we can create the shape. There we go. So the extrude along a path, it's not something you have to convert like when you loft, but the path is automatically converted into a NURBS curve. So you can't use some of the reshape options that we can use for our 2D objects. We have to use some of the 3D objects, though we were able to use the fillet edge, so that was good. But we couldn't use the exchange vertex mode and swap it out for a fillet vertex. I'll switch to a front view, and if I want to align everything by its center again, I can select everything or just select this and what I want to align it to, and I'll choose Align Distribute Center. And I get everything lined up. So my seat back and my seat and my cushion and my leg there are all in the same location. And I'm going to switch around to a back view. I want to have this taper a little bit. So one way to do that is just use the split tool. And I'm going to set up snap to distance. And I'll leave it at 25%. And I'm going to go zoom in so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better, and I'll use the split tool, and let's see, I'll go from the midpoint down to 25% in the bottom. I'll keep that side, and then I'll find the midpoint on this side and come down and find 25% in there and deselect the tool, and I've tapered my back leg, just using the split tool. And snap to distance just to give me some reference points. I'm in a front view now. And I want to create my leg here. So, alright, so this is what I came up with for the legs. I'm going to use the arc tool, my favorite fourth mode there, and I'll draw my arc from there to there and just kind of stretch it to the radius there. That looks pretty good. And then I'll pick up my polyline, snap to the end, and I can use my mirror tool to mirror it, and then I'll select that arc at two ends, modify, compose, and let's see, did I missed that end there, so I'll re-snap it to the end and then recompose. And I missed it again. I got a little bit of a, I need to zoom in for this. There we go. There we go. And I'll select them both, modify, compose. Alright, there I have one polyline. I'll double click and reshape some vertices, and I'll make this one a Bezier to get it back to the shape I want. And I can put it back into place. I'm going to switch to a side view, and I'll actually pull my leg where I want it, and I want to tip it forward a little bit so it splays forward. So I'll use my rotate tool, kind of splay it forward, something like that. I can move it 25, which would be the same angle as the back. I'll make it a little farther forward. And I'll switch back to a side view, and I'll make my leg profile, and I'll select both, that polyline in my profile, extrude along a path, choose the path, and there we go. I've extruded it in the orientation that I want it to be in. And I want to do a little tapering as well. I can use a split tool, and in this orientation the split tool cuts everything in its path. So by doing this cutting, oops, in the side view, I'm cutting everything. Now notice this is intersecting, so it deleted that part too. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move this out of the way, pick up my split tool, obviously figure out where I want to split it. I still have snap to distance on, and do my splitting where I'm not accidentally deleting or cutting something behind it, and then I'll turn off snap to distance and I'll move this back over right about there. Make sure I moved everything okay. Now again, with extrude along a path, it extrudes the path, or the object right in the middle of the path. So I need to move my leg down a little bit. Switch back to wireframe, and I can use the movement arrows. See how I'm doing. And then the last thing I want to do is trim the bottom. So I can use that split tool again. And this is like the waterline scribe out in Core. I'm just going to trim the legs. And I'm just about done.